context, because strong coaching is about context. Strong coaching is about reinforcement. Strong coaching is about repetition. Because some Robin Sharma Nation viewers are going to hear an idea quickly and they're going to go, I get it. And later on down the road, it's going to be another insight and they go, wow, Robin's been talking about that in so many sessions, but now I really lock it in, not as a belief, but as a felt feeling. I really get it. And this happens to all the different viewers and different members. They're going to understand different parts of my philosophies and teachings and methodologies and technologies at different parts of their journey through Robin Sharma Nation based on where they are, based on what they're ready to hear. And sometimes, as a learner, this is how we learn. We've heard something 20 times, 50 times, 100 times, and we say, I know it. I've heard Robin talk about it. And then they hear me say it in another video, and they go, boom! I thought I knew what he was talking about, but now I really get it. And that is what people call an aha, or that's what people call, that's the moment. You get it not as an intellectual insight, but as a knowing. I mean, if you look at people who really are masters of what they do, they don't understand the material. They know the material. And that's when you start to live the material. It's happened to me many times, and it's happened to a lot of people watching. We've read a book, and we read the book, and we go, that was a fantastic book. And then we read the same book a second time, maybe a third time, maybe a fourth time. And what starts to happen is we go, I thought the book was a good book, or maybe I read it and it was like, meh. You heard it right. Meh. That's what the millennials say. Meh. It was meh. And it was pretty good, or it was great. And then they read it the second time, and the third time, and the fourth time, and they said, I thought I understood what the book said, but I realized I missed the nuances, and I missed the layers, and I missed the magic of the book. This book is an incredible book. Well, it's not that the book changed. It's that your availability to the wisdom changed. So, what I want to do in this session is really give some context, first of all, which is the four interior empires. Mindset is a popular concept. Heartset isn't spoken about very much. This is the vocabulary I've created to help people really understand why people sabotage. Why do we sabotage our prosperity, our productivity, our audacity, our bravery? Why do we read a book or invest in a coaching program and it doesn't work? It's because we get the information. If it's a good program, we get the information intellectually. That's the mindset. We get the learning in our mind. Oh, I understand it. I understand this is what you do. This is how you do it. These are the rituals. These are the routines. But the stickiness comes. That's only 25% of the equation. You want to get it in your mindset, but also you want to dial in your heart set, which is your emotional life. I mean, how can you do great things if you're stuck in the past, if you're full of anger, if you're disappointed, if you haven't calibrated your joy, if you haven't exponentially elevated your gratitude? Those emotions that a lot of people, we live in a society that says, think in your head, numb out, don't be emotionally alive, especially if you're a man. So you've got mindset's 25% of the personal mastery and the professional genius equation. Add heart set to it, that's only 50%. You've got to get health set. Health set is all about your vitality, your longevity, feeling good, waking up in the morning at 5 o'clock saying, I'm on fire, I don't know why. Well, that's because you did the work, you did the running, you did the burpees, you got the 2 massage protocol. You did all the things that I've been teaching and will continue to teach to everyone watching over the weeks, months, and years that continue in this program. So, mindset, heart set, health set. Still only 75% of the equation. And no one else is teaching this model. And I think it's the game changer. I think these four interior empires, and the final one is soul set. Oh, Robin, you're going all spiritual on us. Well, if you haven't worked on your spirit, your truest nature, how can you be authentic? How can the world fall in love with you? When I was in Nelson Mandela's prison cell, 18 years on Robben Island, I saw this tiny prison cell where this human being lived. I mean, they treated him subhuman, one of the greatest heroes of humanity. Could have been better, used it to open him up. You know what he said when he left the prison? After he left Robben Island, he was transferred to other prisons. And a year before he became president of South Africa, they knew the fall of apartheid was inevitable. So they were preparing him to be their president. So what they did at the last prison he was at, and I actually visited this prison as well. I took Icon X to Robben Island, which was no words. And then there was another prison where he was released from, and I did that. And I actually saw the warden's home that he was kept in. And on the day of his release, Winnie, his wife at the time, was waiting for him at the end of the roadway. And on the day of his release, he left the warden's home where he'd spent a year. And after 27 years of total confinement, this was the day he would be released. And there were thousands of people waiting, and the world was waiting. You know, I still remember watching his release. I believe it was 1990, and I was sitting with my father. And we were sitting there in front of a TV in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I used to live. And it was just me and my dad. And we watched the day Nelson Mandela was released. It was just one of the most incredible days to watch. The whole world had been waiting for this day. So the day that he was released, he did this walk down the roadway, and the world was waiting for him. And I talked to a prison guard, and he said that day we said, "Mr. Mandela, would you like a car to drive you down this short," it wasn't long, it was just a roadway, and there's like a white gate at the end of it. There was a guardhouse. You can go to Stellenbosch, South Africa, and see it. And I would encourage anyone who's watching to do this, because that was really his long walk to freedom, the name of his autobiography. Yes, it was the 27 years and even before when he was a freedom fighter. But really that walk, he told the jailers, "No, I don't want to walk. I don't want a car. I want to walk." And so with great dignity, because they always talked about the way he walked, with great bearing. He walked like royalty because he actually was, long story short, we don't need to get into it right now, but he was raised in a royal culture, African culture, his tribe. And so he walked with great bearing, and with great bearing, he walked down the roadway, and the gate opened up, and he was free. And shortly after that, he became the president of South Africa. What is my even larger point? In his autobiography, Nelson Mandela wrote, "As I left the prison on the day of my release, I knew I had to leave all the bitterness behind. Otherwise, I would still be in prison." And on the day of his inauguration as president of South Africa, with the world's eyes watching, who was in the group? The people who put him in prison. He invited his jailers to his inauguration. And that's the man he was. He was all about forgiveness. I don't know if you know this, but South Africa was on the verge of civil war when President Mandela took office. And through his Heartset, through his forgiveness, he united the nation and he inspired the world. So, you've got to have the mindset and the Heartset and the health set and the soul set, Nelson Mandela and Mother Teresa and Mahatma Gandhi lived soul set, and all four of those dimensions are important. And you don't have to be a Nelson Mandela or a Rosa Parks to calibrate your soul set. And I know this session is about Heartset, but on the flight over to where I am, I give a presentation tomorrow to 1,000 leaders, and on Saturday to 40,000 leaders here in Sao Paulo. And on the flight over, there was a flight attendant, and I heard him say he was 71 years old. 71 years old. Air Canada. And His name was John. And John radiated Heartset all through the cabin. Like he was pouring Heartset. Like I gotta tell you, like this man was a Picasso of what he did. He was total leader without a title. So he said, 71 years old, greeted everyone by name. When I went into the washroom to brush my teeth after an all-night flight, he had just finished cleaning the washroom. And he goes, it's all ready for you. He doesn't know who I am. He just goes, I was just another passenger. It's all ready for you. I walk in and you can't make this up. In any great hotel, what do the room cleaners do? They fold the toilet paper into a nice triangle. It's like the little details, OAD, obsessive attention to detail. The 95%, why does it matter? The rare few, because it matters. That's how you create the magic, details. So I walk into the lavatory on this flight the other night. He had folded the toilet paper into triangles. Unbelievable. The whole lavatory was flawless. He came up to me afterward as I left the washroom, and here's what he said. We're going to be landing in a few hours. He learned my name. He learned my name. It was Dale Carnegie. The sound of someone's name is the sweetest sound to their ears. Use people's name. It's a sign of respect. And so he used my name, which he had learned, like he learned everyone else's names. And he said, I notice you're not having an omelet and you're not having any pancakes. There's nothing checked off on your breakfast menu. Would you like me to save you an omelet? I mean, he knew Heartset. And then I said, no, I'm fasting. I'm just going to drink black coffee. He goes, no problem. And then when I left, this 71-year-old man walked up to me. I mean, I'm really fit. He walked up, opened up the overhead compartment, pulled out my overhead luggage, lifted my luggage. And I travel with books, and I travel with like my speaker, and I travel with my supplements, and my luggage is heavy. 71-year-old man named John, Air Canada, reached up, pulled down my luggage, and put it there for me. I didn't ask him, and I didn't want him to do it. Heartset. And then here's what he did. As I was leaving, getting ready to walk in, go to Sao Paulo, he hugged me. I don't know why he hugged me. And one thing I've learned is if you're going to hug someone, hug them seriously. Hug them like it matters. When I hug my children, I go heart to heart, and I hug my children like there's no tomorrow, because no one knows when tomorrow comes, if we get another tomorrow. So he gave me a hug for whatever reason, and I reached over and I gave him a real hug, and everyone was watching. And it was like a real hug, and he went, oh, good bro hug. And I think that was his own discomfort. You don't have to be a Mother Teresa or Nelson Mandela to express Heartset or Soulset. When I asked him, why do you behave the way you do? He goes, I love what I do. And it makes me think of what Maya Angelou once said, the great poet. She said, people may forget what you say, and people may forget what you do, but no one will ever forget how you make them feel. And John, a 71-year-old flight attendant on the Air Canada flight all night to Sao Paulo, made me feel like I mattered to him. And that's why a mindset without a well-developed heartset is the most empty of victories.